Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for joining us today for our live stream. We'll start the program with the recitation of the Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين ولتعلن علوا كبيرا فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا إن أحسنتم أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها فإذا جاء وعد الآخرة ليسوءوا وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا عسى ربكم أن يرحمكم وإن عدتم عدنا وجعلنا جهنم للكافرين حصيرا إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا وأن الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة أعتدنا لهم عذابا أليما ويدعو الإنسان بالشر دعاءه بالخير وكان الإنسان عجولا وجعلنا الليل والنهار آيتين فمحونا آية الليل وجعلنا آية النهار مبصرة لتبتغوا فضلا من ربكم ولتعلموا عدد السنين والحساب وكل شيء فصلناه تفصيلا وكل إنسان ألزمناه طائره في عنقه ونخرج له يوم القيامة كتابا يلقاه منشورا اقرأ كتابك كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا من اهتدى فإنما يهتدي لنفسه ومن ضل فإنما يضل عليها ولا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى وما كنا معذبين حتى نبعث رسولا وإذا أردنا أن نهلك قرية أمرنا متر فيها ففسقوا فيها فحق عليها القول فدمرناها تدميرا وكم أهلكنا من القرون من بعد نوح وكفى بربك بذنوب عباده خبيرا بصيرا من كان يريد العاجلة عجلنا له فيها ما نشاء لمن نريد ثم جعلنا له جهنم يصلاها مذموما مدحورا ومن أراد الآخرة وسعى لها سعيها وهو مؤمن فأولئك كان سعيهم مشكورا كلا نمد هؤلاء وهؤلاء من عطاء ربك وما كان عطاء ربك محظورا انظر كيف فضلنا بعضهم على بعض وللآخرة أكبر درجات وأكبر تفضيلا لا تجعل مع الله إلها آخر فتقعد مذموما مخذولا وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما وقل لهما قولا كريما واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة وقل رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربكم أعلم بما في نفوسكم إن تكونوا صالحين فإنه كان للأوابين غفورا وآت ذا القربى حقه والمسكين وابن السبيل ولا تبذر تبذيرا إن المبذرين كانوا إخوان الشياطين وكان الشيطان لربه كفورا وإما تعرضن عنهم ابتغاء رحمة من ربك ترجوها فقل لهم قولا ميسورا ولا تجعل يدك مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط فتقعد ملوما محسورا إن ربك يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر إنه كان بعباده خبيرا بصيرا ولا تقتلوا أولادكم خشية إملاق نحن نرزقهم وإياكم إن قتلهم كان خطأ كبيرا ولا تقربوا الزنا إنه كان فاحشة وساء سبيلا ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ومن قتل مظلوما فقد جعلنا لوليه سلطانا فلا يسرف في القتل إنه كان منصورا ولا تقربوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي هي أحسن حتى يبلغ أشده وأوفوا بالعهد إن العهد كان مسؤولا وأوفوا الكيل إذا كلتم وزنوا بالقسطاس المستقيم ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا إنك لن تخرق الأرض ولن تبلغ الجبال طولا كل ذلك كان سيئه عند ربك مكروها ذلك مما أوحى إليك ربك من الحكمة ولا تجعل مع الله إلها آخر فتلقى في جهنم ملوما مدحورا أفأصفاكم ربكم بالبنين واتخذ من الملائكة إناثا إنكم لتقولون قولا عظيما ولقد صرفنا في هذا القرآن ليذكروا وما يزيدهم إلا نفورا قل لو كان معه آلهة كما يقولون إذا لابتغوا إلى ذي العرش سبيلا سبحانه وتعالى عما يقولون علوا كبيرا تسبح له السماوات السبع والأرض ومن فيهن وإن من شيء إلا يسبح بحمده ولكن لا تفقهون تسبيحهم إنه كان حليما غفورا وإذا قرأت القرآن جعلنا بينك وبين الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة حجابا مستورا وجعلنا على قلوبهم أكنة أن يفقهوه وفي آذانهم وقرا وإذا ذكرت ربك في القرآن وحده ولوا على أدبارهم نفورا نحن أعلم بما يستمعون به إذ يستمعون إليك وإذ هم نجوى إذ يقول الظالمون إن تتبعون إلا رجلا مسحورا انظر كيف ضربوا لك الأمثال فضلوا فلا يستطيعون سبيلا وقالوا أئذا كنا عظاما ورفاتا أئنا لمبعوثون خلقا جديدا قل كونوا حجارة أو حديدا أو خلقا مما يكبر في صدوركم فسيقولون من يعيدنا قل الذي فطركم أول مرة فسينغضون إليك رؤوسهم ويقولون متاه قل عسى أن يكون قريبا يوم يدعوكم فتستجيبون بحمده وتظنون إن لبثتم إلا قليلا وقل لعبادي يقولوا التي هي أحسن إن الشيطان ينزغ بينهم إن الشيطان كان للإنسان عدوا مبينا ربكم أعلم بكم إن يشأ يرحمكم أو إن يشأ يعذبكم وما أرسلناك عليهم وكيلا وربك أعلم بمن في السماوات والأرض ولقد فضلنا بعض النبيين على بعض وآتينا داود زبورا قل ادعوا الذين زعمتم من دونه فلا يملكون كشف الضر عنكم ولا تحويلا أولئك الذين يدعون يبتغون إلى ربهم الوسيلة أيهم أقرب ويرجون رحمته ويخافون عذابه إن عذاب ربك كان محذورا وإن من قرية إلا نحن مهلكوها قبل يوم القيامة أو معذبوها عذابا شديدا كان ذلك في الكتاب مسطورا وما منعنا أن نرسل بالآيات إلا أن كذب بها الأولون وآتينا ثمود الناقة مبصرة فظلموا بها وما نرسل بالآيات إلا تخويفا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Thank you very much for that beautiful recitation. We're now going to continue our program with the recitation of Dua Iftitah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم رب شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام، صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عامي هذا وفي كل عام، واغفر لي تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا علام. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أنتني في دعائك ومسألتك فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعثرة قد أقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده، الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يدا، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما، إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير مع حاجة بي إليه عظيما، وغناك عنه قديم، وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي، وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي، وصفحك عن ظلمي، وسترك على قميه عملي، وحلمك عن كثير جرمي، عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وأريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستأنسا، لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك. فإن أبطأ عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبطأ عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور، فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لعيم منك علي يا رب. يا ربي إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك، وتتحبب إلي وأتبغض إليك، وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك، كأن لي التتول عليك. فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك، فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه، وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعدا فلا يرى وقربا فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادله، ولا شبيه يشاكله، ولا ظهير يعاضده، قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظماء، فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصي، ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي، فكم من موحبة هنيئة قد أعطاني، وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني، وبحجة مونقة قد أراني، فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يفتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه، لا يرد سائله ولا يخيب آمنه. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويضع المستكبرين، ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها، وترجف الأرض وعمارها، وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق، ويرزق ولا يرزق، ويطعم ولا يطعم، ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى، وهو حي لا يموت، بيده الخير، وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك، وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى، وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين، عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي، هججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائما. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك، استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله، مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له، أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا، يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به، وانصره وانتصر به، وانصره نصرا عزيزا، وافتح له فتحا يسيرا، واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم أظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله، وتذل بها النفاق وأهله، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المنبت به شعثنا واشعب به صدعنا وارتق به فتقنا وكثر به قلتنا وأعزز به ذلتنا وأغن به عائلنا واقض به عن مغرمنا واجبر به فقرنا وسد به خلتنا ويسر به عسرنا وبيض به وجوهنا وفك به أسرنا وأنجح به طلبتنا وأنجز به مواعيدنا واستجب به دعوتنا وأعطنا به سؤلنا وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا وأعطنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين اشف به صدورنا وأذهب به غيظ قلوبنا واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق آمين اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله وغيبة ولينا وكثرة عدونا وقلة عددنا وشدة الفتن بنا وتظاهر الزمان علينا فصل على محمد وآله وأعن على ذلك بفتح منك تعجل وبضر تكشفه ونصر تعزه وسلطان حق تظهر ورحمة منك تجللناها وعافية منك تلبسناها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم برحمتك في الصالحين فأدخلنا وفي علين فارفعنا وبكأس من معين من عين سلسبيل فاسقنا ومن الحور العين برحمتك فزوجنا ومن الولدان المخلدين كأنهم لؤلؤ مكنون فأخدمنا ومن ثمار الجنة ولحوم الطير فأطعمنا ومن ثياب السندس والحرير والاستبرق فألبسنا وليلة القدر وحج بيتك الحرام وقتلا في سبيلك فوفق لنا وصالح الدعاء والمسألة فاستجب لنا وإذا جمعت الأولين والآخرين يوم القيامة فارحمنا وبراءة من النار فاكتب لنا وفي جهنم فلا تغلنا وفي عذابك وهوانك فلا تبتلنا ومن الزقوم والضريع فلا تطعمنا ومع الشياطين فلا تجعلنا وفي النار على وجوهنا فلا تكذبنا ومن ثياب النار وسرابيل القتران فلا تلبسنا ومن كل سوء يا لا إله إلا أنت بحق لا إله إلا أنت فنجنا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم إني أسألك أن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر من الأمر المحتوم في الأمر الحكيم، من القضاء الذي لا يرد ولا يبدل، أن تكتبني من حجاج بيتك الحرام المبرور حجهم، المشكور سعيهم، المغفور ذنوبهم، المكفر عن سيئاتهم، وأن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر أن تطيل عمري في خير وعافية، وتوسع في رزقي، وتجعلني ممن تنتصر به لدينك ولا تستبدل بي غيري. أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان أو يطلع الفجر من ليلة هذه ولك قبلي تبعة أو ذنب تعذبني عليه. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. إلهي وقف السائلون ببابك ولاذ الفقراء بجنابك، ووقفت سفينة المساكين على ساحل بحر جودك وكرمك، يرجون الجواز إلى ساحة رحمتك ونعمتك. إلهي إن كنت لا تغفر في هذا الشهر الشريف إلا لمن أخلص لك في صيامه وقيامه، فمن للمذنب المقصر إذا غرق في بحر ذنوبه وآثامه. إلهي إن كنت لا ترحم إلا المطيعين فمن للعاصين، وإن كنت لا تقبل إلا من العاملين فمن للمقصرين. إلهي ربح الصائمون وفاز القائمون ونجا المخلصون، ونحن عبيدك المذنبون، فارحمنا برحمتك وأعتقنا من النار بعفوك يا كريم يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Thank you very much for that beautiful recitation. We're now going to move on to the talk, which is by Shaykh Alireza Bhojani, and he'll be speaking on the problem of evil and suffering in Islamic theology and philosophy. This will end this topic, and tomorrow he'll be speaking on Imam Hassan alayhi salam, followed by Q&A. So please do send any questions you might have via WhatsApp, via email, or on the YouTube channel itself. Alireza is a senior lecturer at the Markfield Institute in Islamic Studies. He's a research affiliate at the University of Oxford, and he's also an honorary research fellow in theology and religious studies at the University of Nottingham. He's spoken many times in Maflali, and let's welcome him today with salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وأهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين. So the first two verses of Surah Al-Ankabut, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alif Lam Mim, أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون, remind us that irrespective of who we may be, believers, unbelievers, prophets of God or ordinary devotees, we will experience tests, we will experience trial. The aim of these three sessions has been to introduce some of the diverse approaches to Islamic theology and how they've engaged with the question of evil and suffering which is experienced by humankind. And we've been introducing a set of diverse approaches. So we've talked very briefly about Ilm al-Kalam, the rational defense, explanation and exploration of beliefs associated with schools like the Mu'tazili and the Ash'ari. We've talked about traditionalist approaches to theology, where there's a reliance on the apparent meaning of the Quran, the Sunnah, dependence upon early precedent or the opinion of the Salaf. We've looked briefly at the idea of falsafa and the contributions of Ibn Sina, that giant philosopher who's influenced across the board Islamic thought, both those who are proponents of his ideas, those who have built upon his ideas, and those who responded to them. So we've looked at the contributions of these different approaches and also mentioned that if we're thinking about theological questions, if we're thinking about conceptions of God, their implications for ideas about one's relationship with God, we also shouldn't exclude tasawwuf. Now, each of these diverse approaches to theological questions are internally diverse. For instance, we picked up in Ilm al-Kalam, amongst the different schools of Kalam, we have very, very different assumptions about the nature of God. Some schools giving precedence to God's justice, other schools giving precedence to God's power. Both of these within the context of attempts to have theoretically consistent and coherent understandings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and exploring the implications of those beliefs to other theological questions. So each of these different approaches which we pointed to are internally diverse. They hold different assumptions, yet they have influenced each other at various points through time, and they continue to do so. So we talked about the rise of traditionalism and giving the example of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, the eponym of the Hanbali school. His disposition towards raising the flag of the Quran and Sunnah is associated with an anti-kalam movement, particularly in the context of the state enforcement of Mu'tazili kalam during Abbasid periods. And we've seen mutual interaction between these trends throughout time. And we also see individual thinkers and individual schools which draw on resources from across these diverse traditions. So the relationships between each of these disciplines is complex. It's not simple, but our aim was to introduce us to the idea that there are a range of different resources, of different intellectual traditions, which can feed in to any particular applied question. And we see this range of resources, range of traditions, range of approaches informing Shia thought as well, with regards to belief in general. So we could examine questions about the existence of God from a traditionalist Shia point of view, from a philosophical point of view, or emphasizing mystical discourse on the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or we could do it again from the theological premises developed out of Ilm al-Kalam. We may see in a single thinker a combination of these resources and mutual influence from each of these trends informing a particular Shia thinker's approach. And this is no different when we come to the issue of evil and suffering. Shia theologians' engagements with the questions of evil and suffering have drawn from a diverse range of methodological frameworks and have allowed them to produce very, very sophisticated and insightful ideas to help us conceptualize how we can reconcile our apparent experience of evil, our apparent experience of suffering, or our actual experience of evil and suffering with the notion of a just, loving God. So our aim today is to unpack a little further some of the core theological premises adopted within Shia thought, which allows them to take this pro-theodicy approach. So to allow them to actually seek to reconcile this apparent occurrence of evil with the idea of a just God. So we want to unpack some of those theological premises and see how contemporary Shia theologians have drawn upon diverse ideas from falsafa, from mysticism, and built upon them to give us some very, very insightful responses to these pressing questions and these typical human questions, trying to account with the human reality of suffering, challenges, trials, and tests. So as we've said in previous sessions, Shia theologians within Ilm al-Kalam adopt a pro-theodicy approach. They describe themselves as adliya. So they describe themselves as the people of justice, reflecting the fact that Shia scholars hold a substantive conception of justice which can be ascribed to God. So God is just in his essence and his actions. This justice is premised or is built upon that meta-ethical position which we discussed in the first session, that basic moral principles can be understood by humans independent of revelation. So humans can have a sense of what is good or what is bad without the prophets. When we say that God is just, this is in a meaningful sense. It's not an arbitrary term which is applied to God, such that anything that God might do would be just. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can't do that which is unjust within this framework. So God does not commit that which is blameworthy. Actually, this is a typical, classical Shia theologian's definition of God's justice. So when we have the usul ad-din, those 5 hallmark doctrines which many will have been taught, as they were growing up as children within Shia communities, that the 5 usul ad-din is tawheed, adala, nabuwa, imama, and qiyamah or ma'ad. This identification of adala, within the principles of usul ad-din, this emphasis on adala isn't to say that other Muslims don't believe that God is just. Of course, all Muslims believe that God is just. But why is adala included within that list? It's to emphasize a particular concept of justice. Saying that, no, this justice that we're ascribing to God, is a justice in a sense which is intelligible to humans. And a typical definition of that adala would be la yaf'alul kabih, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not commit that which is blameworthy. Justifications for God's justice, could be rational justifications and there could be textual justifications. Now, typically the approach to kalam, which has been adopted within Shia thought, although we see people who have a more traditionalist bent, we see people who have more philosophical bent, in terms of the mainstream approach within Shia kalam, so this rational defense of theology, is what can be described as a complementary approach, or as Abdul Hadi al-Fadli describes it, a manhaj at-takamuli. So there's a complementary approach between reason and textual evidences. So typically when we open a book of Shia Kalam, we'll find rational arguments for fundamental doctrines and we'll find textual arguments for those fundamental doctrines. Now, in terms of God's justice, why are Shias arguing that God must be just, in a very concise way? It's an implication of his other attributes. So rationally speaking, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is knowing, and he is capable, and he is needless, he cannot do that which is blameworthy. Of course, this argument could be unpacked further, and maybe if we have opportunity in the discussions, in our live session, hopefully tomorrow, we can do so. The argument or the rational arguments for God's justice can be taken forward in terms of the implication of the possibility of his not being just. And if God was unjust, the rational arguments hold, we would lose trust in his promises and threats. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could lie, of course Allah is removed from such possibility. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could lie, how could we trust the Quran? How could we trust the prophets? And how could we trust the messengers? So the idea here is, again, it's a rational argument, to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must be just. All Muslims believe that we can trust revelation, therefore we must be able to trust basic principles of morality, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must be just. He cannot commit that which is blameworthy. A verse from the Quran which supports, or which is used to support this sense of God's justice, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِالظَّلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in the least unjust to his servants. What's important in terms of the adliya or the Shia reading of this, is injustice. Okay, injustice or blameworthy is something which is rationally intelligible. Now, this fundamental premise, okay, which allows for a pro-theodicy approach, of course, directly informs discussion of God's wisdom and purpose, right? In contrast, or is contrasted with the Ash'ari position. So again, as we mentioned in the first session, the Ash'ira, so that's an important school amongst the Sunni schools of theology. It's not theology. It's not the only school of Sunni theology, but it's an important one. Okay, there's a denial that God must operate with purpose. And this, we said, was driven partly out of concerns for maintaining God's power. Okay, maintaining God's freedom from any limits. Okay, so the Ash'ira held that if God was to have purpose, it would demonstrate need and undermine his completion and perfection. So, for example, if I aim to learn, if I have a purpose of learning, this reflects an imperfection within me. Okay, it reflects my ignorance that I aim to learn. Okay, so whenever the Ash'ira held that whenever something has purpose, it demonstrates need. Okay, if something is needy, it cannot be attributed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah must be unlimited by acting with purpose. This was, part of the basis for their anti-theodicy approach. We said that for the Ash'ira, who believe that whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates or commands is just by definition, and that justice, good, bad, are not subject to any rational consideration whatsoever. Okay, coupled with this position on purpose, okay, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have to act with purpose, leads them to have an anti-theodicy approach. So it's nonsensical to ask about, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us suffering? Now the Shia position is contrasted with that. The Imam Shia, in line with the Mu'tazili, hold that God works with purpose. This is justified through both textual and non-textual methods. Again, reflecting that manhaj at-takamuli, this complementary approach. And they Imam Shia explore and cite what these purposes of Allah may be. Okay, sometimes again referring to textual, or often in fact referring to textual evidences, identifying what the purposes must be. So look, remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just in a substantive sense. His actions must be just. So they, even if we don't quite understand why, there must be justice behind it. There must be purpose behind it. So we can identify some general reasons why, and we can also identify specific instances of how pain, suffering, apparent, actual evil is actually of benefit, is actually of value. Right. So this gives us our pre-theodicy approach. What's more, when we see Imamish contemporary Shia theologians, post-Avicennian Shia theologians, so after Ibn Sina, okay, we see extensive use of some of the philosophical ideas which we explored last time, okay, incorporated, okay, within this discussion of God's wisdom and purpose and the accounts for evil, suffering, difficulties, tests, and trials. Okay, so we said in addition to the conception of God's justice, okay, that one of the important premises before we start to look at some of these reconciliations and actual accounts for what is the wisdom and what is the purpose, we said that the Shias, in contrast to the Ash'ari theologians from amongst the Ahl Sunnah, believe that wisdom is a necessary quality of the divine. It's a necessary quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He must act with purpose. He always acts with purpose. Why? Again, we have non-textual arguments or justifications and textual justifications. So very, very briefly. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's actions were not with purpose, they would be futile. Okay? Sounds obvious. If something is not with purpose, it would be futile. However, futile actions are considered rationally blameworthy and hence cannot be attributed to a just God. Now, the idea of something being rationally blameworthy just means to say you ought not to have done it. It's as simple as that. Okay, if somebody does something which was pointless, we would say, why did you do that? Now, that's a form of blame. Okay, rationally, one would have purpose behind one's actions. If one has no purpose, we would ask, why did you do that? What was the point in that action? Okay, this constitutes a form of blame. Any futile act cannot be attributed to a wise, complete, and just being. Because, of course, if an act is blameworthy, it cannot be attributed to God. That was the basic definition of justice, which we pointed to before, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not do that which is blameworthy. He does not do that which is kabir. Acting without purpose is futile. Futile acts are blameworthy and hence cannot be attributed to a just God. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always acts with purpose. We have textual justifications extensively, and here's a few citations which you're welcome to look up in this month of the Quran. I'll just read one of those for you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim for Surah Al-Dukhan. This is the second reference there. وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا لَاعِبِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Dukhan, we haven't created the heavens and the earth and that which is between them, la'ibin, as a game. As a game or without purpose. Okay, so here we have, a brief picture of Shi'i justifications for wujub al-hikmah, or the necessity of divine wisdom, right? Textual, non-textual. What was earlier on we pointed to that the discourse of kalam theology was often polemical. Okay, it was often between parties, so there was defense of beliefs, often an exchange. All right, those exchanges or those debates weren't just interfaith; they were also very much intrafaith theological disputes amongst Muslims. Now, one of the contentions against this position was, of course, the Ash'ari position, which we just looked at. So the Ash'ari, as we saw in the previous slide, they said that, look, if something has purpose, it reflects deficiency. The example I gave is I said that, look, if I need to learn, okay, and I do need to learn, okay, it's because of deficiency within me. Right? Now we've got Shia theologians in line with the Mu'tazila arguing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must have purpose. The question that is then raised within the context of kalam, within the context of these intra-madhab discussion, is, does purpose suggest deficiency in God? This was the position of the Ash'ari. The Shia response is quite a beautiful one, to be honest with you. Okay, and something which I think is very, very important for us to consider. Okay, their response was no. Okay, not if the purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to raise the deficiency in His creation. So Allah's purpose isn't to remove any deficiency within God, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the complete being. No, Allah's purpose, okay, is to alleviate the deficiency in everything other than God. So Allah's purpose is to raise creation towards its own completion. Right. So with those notes, going from these, or building on these fundamental Shia theological premises of God's justice being substantive, okay, and justice being a category which is in theory rationally intelligible, even if we don't always understand what is an instance of justice. God being wise, always acting with purpose, that purpose being the fulfillment of everything other than God. Okay, the completion of everything other than God. I wanted to spend the last few moments of these slides looking at some of the contemporary Shia theologians, how they've brought together some of the pictures that we've been talking about. So, referring here to the likes of Shahid Mutahhari, okay, and the Sheikh Subhani, the contemporary Shia Marja. Ayatollah Mutahhari's works on divine justice may be well known to some of you. They were originally based on lectures published in Farsi and translated to Arabic and English. And there's a fairly long chapter on the dealing with the question of the problem of evil from a range of perspectives. And you can see quite clearly when you read that chapter, and recommend it to all. It's widely available on things like al-Islam.org. You can see the different resources which Ayatollah Mutahhari brings to the question. Clear resources from the mystical tradition, extensive engagement with the likes of Rumi. He builds on these theological premises from Shia Kalam, which we've been discussing. He uses the philosophical infrastructure of Avicennian thought, Ibn Sina, and actually builds upon it with the later Hikmah tradition from the likes of Mullah Sadra al-Shirazi that we haven't talked about today. So you can see in that work this not just the complementary approach of text and reason from the Kalam tradition within Shia thought, but Shaykh Mutahhari also drawing on these diverse approaches to Islamic theology in his accounts of ways we can understand evil and benefits and the benefits of suffering, tests, trials in our life. Ayatollah Subhani's works in Arabic again demonstrate the plurality of resources which Shia scholars employ, although he doesn't take up the mystical discourse quite as strongly as Shaykh Mutahhari does. Okay, so both of them argue that natural evil, okay, as opposed to moral evil, natural evil is non-existent. It's privative and or relative. Now this should straight away resonate with the discussions we had yesterday in terms of the contributions of Ibn Sina to this question. That paradigmatic philosopher, right? That natural evil doesn't actually exist. Okay, natural evil is an absence. It's a privative. So it's uncaused and therefore cannot be attributed to God. Okay, if there's an impact of something natural, if there's evil impact of something natural, this is relative. Okay, it's not inherent. So even if we think of an earthquake, or a tsunami, no doubt it has caused extensive suffering. Okay, but that suffering was relative. Okay, for example, in the Pakistani context of earthquakes, that was relative, okay, to the impact of actually, human failings in building, making constructions below government guidelines, such that they weren't earthquake resistant. The earthquake, what was the cause of the death and the destruction? Was it the earthquake, or was it human failing? All right. On the other hand, the earthquake in and of itself, okay, if, and inshallah soon, okay, humans will be able to capture the energy of this earthquake. And if we could capture the energy of the earthquake, would it be something evil or would it be something good? Could it solve our carbon crisis? Okay, so in and of itself, the earthquake is not evil. Okay, yes, it has evil effects, but these are relative, okay, to another. In and of itself, it's not a created, pure instance of evil. We could even say the same for the tsunami. In and of itself, okay, a tsunami, if its energy could be harnessed, just imagine if we had sufficient warning mechanisms and we could actually harness that power, the tsunami in and of itself would not be evil. Yes, okay, there is a relative evil, okay, there is a relative suffering which emerges from it, but we will discuss those instances in themselves. This major premise is that natural evil is non-existent, okay, it's privative, it's adami, so it's uncaused, it's not attributed to God. Any evil which does come from natural circumstances is relative and not inherent to the thing in and of itself. So here we see Avicennian ideas, those ideas of Ibn Sina, okay, supplemented, in the works of the likes of Shaykh Mutahhari, to a lesser extent, Ayatollah Subhani, by discourses of tasawwuf and irfan and the transcendental wisdom of Mullah Sadra. Unfortunately, we don't have scope within these lectures to explore those avenues further. Okay, the likes of Shaykh Mutahhari and Ayatollah Subhani also emphasize, beyond this premise that natural evil is non-existent, is privative and is relative, that the occurrence of pain and suffering is not necessarily immoral. Okay, so that's important for us to recognize. Pain and suffering isn't necessarily immoral. Sometimes it's deserved. Now, whether you deserve the torture of listening to these lectures or not, I have no idea, but at least with this virtual setup, it's easy for you to change the channel rather than walk out of the masjid. Okay, but hopefully you get the point here. That pain and suffering is not necessarily immoral if it is deserved. If it brings more benefit than harm. If it protects from greater harm. So a typical example would be, a gangrenous leg. Okay, one has to cut it off to protect the greater, to protect from greater harm of the infection spreading to the rest of the body. Although it's radical, there's no doubt it's painful. Okay, if it protects from greater harm, suffering can be moral. Okay, that actually the arduous nature of studying, the arduous nature, of listening to the likes of me, if it brings more benefit than harm, then it's not necessarily immoral. Okay, so pain and suffering may not be immoral if they're deserved, if they bring more benefit than harm, if they protect from greater harm, and if they're in accordance with the custom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is talking about the holistic system of God, and we'll move to it in the slides which come. So where the order of the cosmos upon which we collectively depend, relies upon it. So, a typical example may be the element of freedom or apparent freedom which we have to act. All right, if this brings harm, is not necessarily immoral in light of the holistic benefits of humans having freedom. Now, when we think of afflictions, when we think of masa'ib, these can be conceptualized either individually or communally and societally. So, we can think of building on that example of the element of apparent freedom which humans have, in line with the Shia position that there isn't absolute predetermination and there isn't absolute free will. We've been allotted a space for action. Then, when we look at it from an individual level and we say that a particular individual chose to go to a school and cause the deaths of innocent children, we look at it from an individual position, we think this was immoral. But when we look at it from the holistic perspective and we think of, would it have been better for humans to have freedom or not to have had freedom? Or at least, would it be better for humans to have an element of a scope of action or not to have had that action? Our perspective would change. Now, the limits of human understanding typically focus on the individual and the temporal. So when we ask questions of why has this happened, we typically focus on the particular instance. We focus on what happened at the school, and understandably so. If there was, mass suffering of innocent children, it's understandable that our emotions would go out, to those children, to those families, and we ask the questions why. But this is the nature of human understanding. We tend to address these questions from the limited perspective, from the individual perspective, rather than from a communal and societal perspective. Furthermore, we tend to think of these things in terms of the present or the present world, and sometimes lose sight of that basic fundamental Muslim position that this world, is simply like a bridge and that there is much more to come. So humans usually don't or even can't consider a holistic picture, societal, and both worldly and otherworldly. And the perception of evil or afflictions is not always actual. So what we perceive as evil, what we perceive as afflictions aren't always actual. Yes, unwarranted individual pain and suffering does occur. You may say, Alireza, fair enough. Freedom is better than us all being robots. We've got an afterlife to come. But what happened to those children? Those innocent children that were gunned down in a school in America, or those innocent children that are suffering today because their parents can't find work, or there's a lockdown in a school and they're not getting educations. What about the unwarranted individual pain and suffering? Now, the Shia Adliya position doesn't deny that there is unwarranted individual pain and suffering, but because of the conception of a just God, the premise is that this must be compensated by that which is better in the next world. So, what do we have here? Actually, the problem of evil actually becomes part of a justification for the necessity of an afterlife. Look, if there is unwarranted individual pain and suffering now, a just God must make up for it in the afterworld. Okay, and a just God will make up for it in the afterworld. We have traditions attributed to the Ahlul Bayt, salawatullahi wassalamu alayhim ajma'in, which talk about even, for example, the miscarried child who will be raised on the Day of Judgment, okay, amongst the shuhada. Now, beyond this conceptualization of afflictions, we also have, and we're moving to the final slides now, the statements of the benefits of afflictions. What can be the on the individual level? So our point here is that often when we think about these questions, we think of them from an individual level and forget the societal, communal, long-term picture, the holistic picture, which our minds sometimes struggle to or are limited in understanding. However, despite that, okay, there are individual and particular benefits to affliction, okay, which are identified by the ulama based on textual evidences. I mentioned just a few. One of them is that struggles, tests, challenges, these are a means of actualizing potential. Okay, so we saw, for example, within the torment of the Second World War, okay, and the mass deaths. Okay, we had the development of antibiotics, which has revolutionized medicine afterwards. Actually, within the difficulty came ease. Okay, inna ma'al usri yusra. Today we see science working, on overtime to production of a vaccine for COVID-19. Allah only knows how many other benefits will come from that intense scientific effort, which is being conducted as we speak. And of course, we pray for the success of those efforts. So difficulties, okay, can be a means to actualizing potential, not just on a societal scale, but also on a very individual scale. How many times do we say, I never knew I had it in me, until I actually went on to the, or engaged with the difficulty. Furthermore, the Quran tells us that afflictions, trials, tribulations can be a bridge to warn us and return us to the truth. Sometimes these afflictions are with good. Good can be an affliction. As the Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَبَلَوْنَاهُمْ بِالْحَسَنَاتِ وَالسَّيِّئَاتِ. Okay, but we give them bala, okay, with that which is good and that which is bad. Sometimes the biggest affliction is ease, actually. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we read a hadith of we read a hadith Qudsi to Hazrat Musa salamullahi alayhi at the end of the previous session, where Allah told Hazrat Musa He knows that which is best for us. Okay, and Allah tests us and tries us with that which is good and that which is bad. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. So maybe we may turn back to Him. Okay, a turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as individuals and a society. What could be better than that? And of course, across the traditions, whether they're Shia, whether they're Sunni, whether they're Ash'ari, whether they're traditionalists, and we saw this even in the ideas of Ibn Taymiyyah, that afflictions, tests, trials, these are a divine grace in the lives of the awliya, okay, and a necessary means to attain the lofty heights of human completion, to attain real development, or development in its realist sense. So, the verse of the Quran, and we're concluding now, and my apologies for those who are expecting short lectures. I know the verse of the Quran which we framed these lectures with from Surah Al-Ankabut, affirm the reality that irrespective of our belief, we will be tested just like every other human. Or we may be facing unprecedented challenges today with our COVID-19 situation. But the fact that we face challenges is certainly not unprecedented. It's something very, very normal. Once we pass through this challenge, another challenge will come in its place. Of course, the scope of the challenges which we face, the scope of the tests and the scope of the trials, they are huge. We can see that inequality is likely to grow, if not growing. On a personal level, our economic circumstances, our family circumstances may all be tried. We look around the world and there's people in extreme difficulties today, and the likelihood is those material difficulties are likely to increase. So the scope of our challenges are great, but the potential in these must be seen as an opportunity. As we said at the end of the first talk, the hadith of the Imam was that humans will be tested just as gold is tested. They'll be purified just as gold is purified. We need to take these opportunities to build ourselves. If we come out of this period as better human beings, as more able to deal with inequality, in our own lives and the lives around us, it will have been a beautiful opportunity. And of course, amongst all of the challenges we could identify, the very, very personal ones or the societal ones, one of the beautiful things about being a Muslim, is that we have this opportunity to rely upon God in that process. The final verse of Surah Al-Ankabut reminds us of this. And it says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهِدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. As for those who struggle in our way, if the primary challenge which we see, during this period is challenges in approaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, improving society, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would, envisage for us. لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. If we struggle in God's way, then surely Allah will guide us to His path. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Surely our difficulties, whether it's this difficulty or another difficulty, they are severe. But with trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He promises He will guide us on His way, because Allah is with those who do good. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa Ahli Bayti Tayyibin al-Tahirin. Inshallah, in tomorrow's session, we hope it to be live. We'll have a short talk, and hopefully I look forward to benefiting from some live comments, questions, and contributions to our theme. Walhamdulillah.
Thank you very much, Shaykh Alireza. That's been quite an interesting 3-part series on the problem of evil and suffering in Islamic theology and philosophy. And tomorrow he'll be speaking on Imam Hassan alayhi salam, after which we'll have Q&A across all of these topics. So please do send any questions you might have. Before Adhan, we have a couple of quick announcements.
This Ramadan, we are raising money to help those who are in need both at home in London as well as around the world. Please support our Ramadan appeal in partnership with Sufra and the Lady Fatima Trust. We hope that with your support we can raise £25,000 for these noble causes. Visit sikkim.org.uk/Ramadan appeal to find out more and support us.
Outside of Ramadan, Methil runs programs on a weekly basis, and we would love for you to join us. Every Thursday, we have Dua Kamel and Salah. Every Friday, we have Salah and a weekly lecture with a parallel children's program. Hosseini Madrasa and tuition classes run weekly, as well as Mums and Tots and Dads and Tots sessions. We also have ample sports activities, including karate and martial arts classes, yoga classes, and bouldering. To find out more about any of these events, please visit our website on sikkim.org.uk. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Ramadan program. We're now going to end with Adhan.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليًّا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليًّا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وسلم.